As the 2026 Dakar Rally has its rest day, let's have a bit of a catch up on where everything is at roughly the halfway point of the 2026 edition. Starting off with the bikes, and we are also going to include Rally 2 as part of this and the original by Motul. Daniel Sanders does lead, and it has been a KTM lead pretty much throughout. However, that would make it sound like it's been straightforward, when in reality it's been anything but. In fact, there are only 2 KTMs in the top 10 now in the bikes category, with Luciano Benavides in 3rd place, 10 minutes 15 behind Sanders. Sanders himself is only leading by 45 seconds now, courtesy of a 6-minute penalty for speeding in a controlled speed section in the most recent test. The person who's been gaining on him, well, is the person who won the most recent special, the second part. Well, actually, no, it was the most recent part of it, wasn't it, with stage 6 instead. It was Ricky Brabeck ended up taking the win, 1 minute 14 from a Honda in Tosha Shirena. And then Sanders ended up being 3rd place on the special between another 2 Hondas, with Skyler Hausen 4th and Adrian Van Beveren in 5th. In the overall standings, Shireen is in 4th and Nacho Conejo is in 5th for Hero, ahead of Howes and Van Beveren, with the top 10 rounded up by Bradley Cox, Preston Campbell and Ross Branch. Branch is an hour 36 off. The damaged wheel forced the Rally GP debutant and Rally 2 reigning champion Edgar Canet into retirement. At the same time, Marco Doherty, who was leading in Rally 2, had to retire due to damage also sustained to the bike. Though he has ended up picking up scratches. He ended up picking up a scratch on the most recent test from Hale to Riyadh. He ended up picking that one up by 2 minutes 33, but has lost essentially a day's worth of time. So any kind of good performance is going to have an asterisk next to it now. Whereas in original by Motul, we have seen other retirements as well, which have changed around the running order. Benjamin Mayo is leading that one from Josep Pedro and Jerome Martini. And you have the top 5 all within an hour, and then Maxi Sheck in 6th place is 2 hours behind the lead. When it comes to the Rally 2, that is currently led by Preston Campbell for Honda, and then it's Basworld KTM for Tony Mulek, and then Konrad Dabrowski for Dust Rally Team is rounding out the podium. As for the cars, and very quietly, our top 2 have managed to get themselves into the top 2 places, because this has arguably been Ford's Dakar so far. At one point, they were locking out pretty much all of the top 5. However, they are still 3rd, 4th, 5th and 7th. Roma's leading Sainz, Ekstrom's in 5th, and then in 7th place is Mitch Guthrie, who was the first one to pick up repeat stage wins. I think he did that in the Bivouac Refuge to Hale, and has dropped down to 7th place. That said, that is only 22 minutes off the lead. The top 10 are separated by 26:46. To find how many are separated by the first hour, you end up down in 16th place. But the leaders, Nasser Al-Attiyah, Fabian Lurkan, they ended up getting into the lead over the most recent test. Henk Lattigan in 2nd place, ahead of those Fords. 6th place in the middle of the Ford sandwich is Sebastian Loeb, whilst the top 10 is rounded out by a Century for Serradori, another Toyota, this time one of the NLG Landia ones for Eric Gotzau, and then a 3rd Sand Rider, that's Lucas Mirage. It has been interesting when you're looking at different people in the running order as well. We've had a couple of high-profile retirements, most notably reigning champion Yazid Al-Raji ended up retiring for mechanical issues from the Dakar 4 this year. And even before, they ended up losing Jordan Zerdaridis around the same time through an accident. In the remaining main four-wheel drive classes, in the Challengers, Pau Navarro leads Cavaglasio Pertcarini, the husband and wife team, by 5 minutes. And then you have Del Rio in 3rd place, 26 minutes off of the lead. Yasser Seydan in 4th. David Zile is in 5th, but he's an hour 23 off of the lead, with Puk Klassen in 6th, an hour 40 back. Interestingly, the closest battle right now is within the top 10, this is, 9th and 10th, who are separated by 1 minute and 6 seconds. That's Pedro Gonzalez and Keskulen. And then after that, Ignacio Casale and Charles Munster are separated by just over 1.5 minutes. When we look at the SSVs, Brock Hager is leading Javier de Soltrite by 32.20. That was a very close category earlier on. The last couple of days it's spread out a little bit more. Carl Cheney's in third, Jan Montero in fourth, and Gonzalo Guerriero is in fifth place. Chaleco Lopez has dropped down to sixth. It's nearly 2 hours off the lead and is closely followed by Manu Andujar. Whilst in the trucks, it is Van den Brinks at the moment. It has ebbed and flowed over the past few days. Maciek is now 35.24 behind. Leprai rounds out the podium, 46.10 behind, but it's only 9 seconds clear of Valladatos Zala, with De Groot rounding out the top 5. In the other categories that have been grabbing people's attention, the classics, it's currently Carlos Reisis and Christoph Marquez leading in the Land Rover for Revoco Racing with 387 points. The points are scored in some regularity in some timed sections, so think the different game modes in the A Sports WRC. They are 97 points ahead of Marco Ernesto Leyva and Alexia Grigini, who are behind the wheel of Mitsubishi Pajero, and they themselves are 34 points clear of third place, John Herrera and Lydia Ruba, who are behind the wheel of a Porsche 959. In the Mission 1000 for alternative fuelings, it is the KH7 Ecovergy team who are now in the lead. Jordi Junaventi, Jose Luis Criado, and Javier Ribas for the KH7 Ecovergy truck are ahead of the lead Segway for Benjamin Pascal by 5 points. And he himself is another 9 points clear of third place, which is Fran Gomez Pala's Arctic Leopard Galicia team bike. And while we're at it, let's talk about the stock category. It is a defender lead still. You've got all 3 defenders in the top 4. Rokas Pachuska is currently leading from Mr. Dakar, Stefan Petter-Hansel. The gap is 45 minutes. Roland Basso for the Team Land Cruiser Toyota Autobody is 1 hour 51.56 off the lead, with Sarah Price in 4th place, 2.5 hours off of the lead. The remaining cars in class, the Torque Racing of Majed Altunayan is 44 hours off the lead, and then Akira Miura in the remaining Land Cruiser is 48 hours off of the lead. And on that note, folks, let's call that there for today. Thank you so much for watching and joining, and make sure to tune in a couple of days when we have our next check-in from Dakar 2026. Till then, it's bye for now.